shot for just for like on my social media. I post stuff and you know what I'm saying. So
Oh, for sure, for sure.
cool.
Hey, all, I'm Reggie Ponder, the real critic. I am here with Tyler Balentine, and we're going to talk about this series in Chicago at the Music Box Theater. So if you're not in Chicago, you can't see it. But because these are some iconic films and this series is really important, I thought I'd have Tyler on to talk about this series at the Music Box Theater for Black History Month. Tyler, welcome.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Really do appreciate it.
Hey, man. So, talk to me how this whole thing came about. Uh, before we actually talk about the five films that are in it, I want to spring that on later. So, talk about how this whole thing came about.
So basically, I got a job at Music Box end of May of 2020 for last year. And when I had my interview, they made it really clear that we can get involved with programming and go to our program meetings. I said, okay, cool. I had a coworker by the name of Cameron Lewis. Shout out to Cameron Lewis, who did the programming for 50 years of hip hop. And I thought, okay, if he could do 50 years of hip hop and get all these films going, I may as well go ahead and interject and do something for Black History Month. I mean, why not? You know, I'm working here. I may as well go ahead and throw the idea out. Now, I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. I guess I just wanted to go ahead and pitch these films or do something for Black History. I wanted us to do something. Now, it really dawned on me that we could do it if there was something that it led to. Like there was like a local black filmmakers, you know what I'm saying, screening, short film screening, which is happening on March 6th. So we can talk about all that later. But a friend of mine, excuse me, a friend of mine, can you hear me okay?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. A friend of mine who was a rapper in the city has a short film. And I told him that I was working at Music Box. I told him to come by 50 years of hip hop, and he was like, "Oh, I've always wanted to get my film played at Music Box." I'm like, So I started, you know what I'm saying? That light bulb started sparking. And that's, I'm like, okay, let me start making some phone calls. Let me start getting some things together. Let me talk to management and tell them my idea. And here we are. We got Melanin Roots and Culture. And like I said, on March 6th, we'll be having the short film screening, Life Within the Lens. So
Oh, excellent. So when we look at the films, people, it's funny because as African Americans and Black folks, we live Black history and that Black life every day. So it, there is some discussion sometimes like, why do we just have to only get February? But we don't just get February. But I think it's a nice time that we can focus in on some things that are specific to our culture. And specifically as it relates to films, you chose five films for this series. And can you talk? I don't have a drum roll yet, but I'm getting one. But can you talk about the five films that you're showing over the month of February?
sure. So first off, February 3rd, we have Malcolm X, and I mean, right there, Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, self-explanatory, right there. I will say, if you do come, for anyone that has not seen it, which I'm sure most of you viewers have, but it's 3.5 hours long. So plan your day out, come by, enjoy the popcorn, get comfortable in your seat. Um, but yeah, that's definitely my favorite out of all five of them, and my
Now,
favorite
now,
for MC that yeah.
now, one of the things though, because most of the people probably listening here don't know in what format you're going to show this, because this is going to look a little different than me watching it at home on TV. So speak to that.
Yeah, so we're gonna be shooting in 35 millimeter. So one thing Music Box does is known for is having films in its regular restoration, so in its regular form. So 35 millimeter, 70 millimeter. We had a 70 millimeter series back in the summertime that led off until the fall, but it was really good. We had some really good films. I actually about a month ago I watched the Exorcist in 35 millimeter, and let me tell you, that was an experience. It was, yeah. It's like it had that pink hue on it. It was like oh, you weren't, Reggie? Were you there?
I was not. I did not get to see The Exorcist in
Oh,
35.
you missed out, brother. You missed out.
Steve sends me like everything all the time. I just couldn't make it to that one. So, but to get back to Malcolm X, to see that one on 35 millimeter is going to be extremely impressive. I would think, I haven't seen it on 35 millimeter, but I would think it would be extremely impressive.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. That's that. Look, I can't wait, and I'll be presenting all the films as well. So you'll see me up on stage, give a little introduction, and then get on to the movie, and I'll be right there with everybody else.
What's really interesting, I did get a chance to in the things that I do, I did get a chance to interview Spike Lee a couple of times, but I did not get a chance to talk to him about this particular film, which I think is one of the most iconic films that he has out there, and that's saying something because he has a number of films that are iconic. I know it is 3.5 hours long, but I'd say if people can go watch Oppenheimer um, and some of these other films that are as long today, that this is one that's worth seeing. I saw this just recently on I think AMC or something. I was flipping the channels and I saw the costuming for this, and so it was it started out during that time where they had the zoot suits and all of that, and they looked phenomenal just on my little TV here at home. So I just suspect that it's gonna be like pow pow. Uh,
Uh, I don't want to cut you off, but that blue and yellow suit that Denzel wears. Oh, look, if you know anybody, I know you've been around for a minute. If you just listen, you can ask around how much they cost one of them suits. They can, you know what I'm saying, slide me one. Look, I want that suit. Now, mind you, Denzel's like six something and I'm 5'7", so have to, get a tailor and whatnot. But look, I want that suit.
well, if I'm not mistaken, I think Ruth Carter did the costuming for that. So same woman who won 2 Oscars, and she won for Black Panther both times for costume design. So next time I see Ruth, I'll put in a little plug for you. I'll ask her. I'll say, hey Ruth, what's up about that? And then what's next after Malcolm X?
So after Malcolm X, we'll have two midnight showings of The Last Dragon. And I think that one is really special because we don't have a whole lot of black kung fu flicks. And, to see us, what I'm saying, being the hero, doing the whole thing of martial arts and whatnot, we used to seeing our regular, martial art. And, Wesley Snipes does a great job. And, what I'm saying, Michael Jai White does a great job. But, black centered kung fu action.
So because of that, some people may not have seen this movie. Who's in this one?
So okay, we got Tamak in this film. I we also have we have a pretty good cast. We got a pretty good cast in this film. Just the music itself with the barge is just phenomenal. So definitely, yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be
excellent. What's up next? What's up next, Tyler?
So, all right, we got EVE'S BAYOU. We got EVE'S BAYOU after that, and EVE'S BAYOU is just a really good story of it's dramatic, but it is a good story of young girls coming to age in the deep South in Louisiana. I know it centers around the Creole, and Cajun. Sorry to mix those two up. Traditions, but yeah, Samuel Jackson, of course. Come on, to see his face on the big screen, that's going to be beautiful. Lynn Whitfield, who is incredible. Journey Smollett, of course, see a young Journey, who has been, and it's amazing just to see how she's been around for so long. I'll be 30 soon, but I just been seeing her all my life. If I saw her, I'd say, I see you all my life, and it's just so great to see where you're at now.
But I think that's a compliment. I also had a chance to speak with Cassie Lemons about this film at her 25th anniversary of this film, and so it's an important one. I'm really happy that you include a female director here. I think a lot of times what happens is that our Black female directors do get lost in in the shuffle. As just like they're talking about Barbie right now, with Greta not getting a nomination for Barbie. Greta Gerwig not getting an Oscar nomination for Barbie, we could also be talking about currently that Ava DuVernay did not even get a sniffle for her new movie Origin. So a lot of times, black female directors are ignored, and so I'm really glad you included a black female in this series. What's up next?
So okay, now we got Love Jones, which was shot in Chicago, with Lorenz Tate and Nia Long, two people I've been watching again all my life. It's one of my mother's favorites, so unfortunately she won't be able to come and watch it, but I'm really expecting a good crowd for that one, especially around Valentine's Day. That'll be February 11th. So yeah, I wanted the 14th, but hey, I'm cool with the 11th.
I'll be out of town, so I will miss that. But I will tell you a personal story is that that whole scene, poetry scene, I tried to dabble in back in the day, and there's a place called Spices that reminded me of what they of the actual place that they went to here in Chicago, and so I love that scene, and I the whole atmosphere of that, and going and listening to a lot of poets. I thought I was one at one point in time, but after listening to some other folks, they were so fantastic. I was like, nah, that ain't me. Man, this is a classic. There are some Chicagoans actually in this as well. I forgot Bernadette's last name, but was a fellow actor and friend of my wife's, and she's in it. So hopefully, Chicago's going to come out not only because it's a Chicago classic, not only because it was shot in Chicago, not only because the Tate brothers are from Chicago, but it also has some other Chicago talent as well.
Absolutely. And just, with me doing this entire series, um, I'll get to the last film, Barbershop. Um, but to have this series, it really means a lot for Music Box to show this representation of Black people on their big screen. Even with the short film series, short film screen, you have so many aspects of life from these Black artists, and not everybody, of course, has, what I'm saying, sees everything the same, and not everything is going to be about the same topic, and, what I'm saying, delivered the same way.
That's right.
You're going to have your comedy, you're going to have your dark comedy, you're going to have your real gruesome stuff, you're going to have, kung fu flicks, your horror, your biopics, all of it. You're going to have it all.
No, absolutely, and I think that's. I'm really glad that you made that point because a lot of times we look at African Americans in a monolithic kind of way. Like I'm not a horror person. I do not like horror. I mean, if I'm sitting next to you, you're gonna get scratched because I'm gonna put my fingernails inside because it scares the heck out of me. I don't even care, even if I know what's coming. I'm scared, right? So horror movies are not my thing, but there are a lot of African Americans who like horror movies. And so the fact that you talk about these different genres and trying to make sure that we see that representation on the screen is important. I go back to The Last Dragon, is that seeing Jim Kelly with when he was with Bruce Lee, and you talk about just being in that karate scene atmosphere, it is great to see the representation there. So I just totally agree with you on that. So that brings us, I guess, to our last film.
Last one, Barbershop. And Barbershop, I think, was just so important because of the Black man who, just went to the barber yesterday, like a couple of days ago. I've always found peace in the barbershop, especially when you get along with your barber and you tip right. Tip your barbers, people. All right. Tip them. Look,
Yeah, but please don't be talking about Michael Jackson in the barbershop, man. Come on now, stop.
the discussions, it's just fun, just when you watch that film, and even with Barbershop and Barbershop 2, and the third one too, I did enjoy all of them. You just, you see yourself. You see yourself, sitting in that chair, having those conversations, what I'm saying, whether it's Cedric the Entertainer's character, Ice Cube's character, um, yeah. So, yeah, all of Eve's character, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, it's just, it just shows camaraderie within our community. Yeah.
So what we didn't do, Tyler, is that I didn't ask you what is the title of this series?
Melanin, Roots, and Culture.
Melanin, Roots, and Culture, and tell me those 5 movies again.
All right, so we got Malcolm X, we got The Last Dragon, Love Jones, Eve's Bayou, and Barbershop.
And then uh one other thing, since we did that, can you do that one more time and just give everybody the dates so the Chicago folks can know what dates they can come out and check this out? And if you're visiting in Chicago, here's some movies you can check out. But if you're not in Chicago, check these films out anyway. There are some really, really good films. I'm mad that everybody can't be in Chicago, because they will be shown at the Music Box Theater. But give us the movies and the dates one more time, please, Tyler.
All right, no problem. So Malcolm X, we got on February 3rd. That's going to be at 1:15 p.m. We got 2 showings of The Last Dragon. That's going to be at February. That's going to be on February 9th and February 10th. Those are midnight showings. So we're going to do the midnight thing. Last Dragon. We got Love Jones on February 11th, the day after, at 7 p.m. And then we got Barbershop on February 20th. That's going to be at 7:15. And then last but not least, Eve's Bayou, February 24th, 2 p.m.
Excellent, man. Well, look, thank you for. I just appreciate you joining us and having this discussion. All these movies are important ones, and then I'll have you back on to talk about at some point. I know you mentioned your short film series, but go ahead and tell me just a little bit about it here, so that the people who are listening can hear about that too.
Sure. It's basically the ending to Melanin, Roots, and Culture. We'll be having it on March 6th. It will be in our smaller theater, so that will be Theater 2, as we call it, at Music Box Theater. But we'll have artists such as Kimberly Michelle Vaughn, Shiloh Tumo Washington, Glenn Beeman, aka Camp by Dean, Cameron Lewis, and Gene Williams. They'll all be showing their short films on March 6th. So definitely come out. It's going to be a great time.
Man, again, I want to thank you so much, Tyler. I'm Reggie Ponder, the real critic. That's Tyler Balentine. He is representing the Music Box Theater. Again, stop by if you get a chance. I'll see you guys next time that I'm here, and we're out.
All right.